right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and our good friends from Augustin Wine were in to show us some of their higher end wines, some of their more expensive things. It's the summertime, so these guys are just looking to get a little movement of this stuff out of the warehouse. You know, these expensive Montepulciano d'Abruzzos and Barolos really slowed down in terms of sales. You know, we used to buy Altare's wines every year and sell out immediately. I just looked while they were there and said, is it a price thing? No, we still have got some of the best prices on the new releases on these wines we brought in the country. And there's not a lot of people that have these wines listed anymore on their site. But, you know, I know Mark DeGrazia did go through, you know, some changes here. And, you know, these guys have been with their distributor for a long time. But, I mean, I think, now they're direct with them. So I don't know what's going on with the sales of Altare's wines, but we seem to have slowed down to a dribble here at the Wine Watch. One of the greatest producers, one of the original Barolo boys. He started his winery in the 70s, 74, 75, and one of the pioneers of using new oak. And Emidio Pepe, this is an older winery, one of the most important wineries in Abruzzo, and considered next to Valentini to be one of the best wineries. Valentini, to me, is the greatest winery, not only in Italy, but one of the greatest wineries in the world. Pepe makes very good wines, I would say, at the next level of quality, though, to Valentini. For my taste, the Trebbiano d'Abruzzo was very nice. We started out with a 2004 vintage of this wine. Very unique. Sounds like kind of a quinine tonic elixir note. Honey, exotic spices, ripe peach and apricot fruit. That elixir kind of quality coming through on the finish as well, with that exotic kind of tonic note to it. And then a really lovely amount of ripe, rich fruit, peaches, apricots, and then nice acidity. Maybe showing a little oxidation here. It's 2004 vintage, but this wine, lovely freshness on the finish. Excellent juice, but $212. Holy Jesus. Anyways, we've got the Emidio Pepe Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. I must have got that price wrong. It couldn't be that expensive. We'll double check that one. $140 for the red. Some dried sausage notes to this wine. Really old world in style. This 2000 vintage showing a little bit more evolution than the 2001. Dried cherry, plum fruit, along with some saddle leather. Very rustic style wine. 3,300 cases produced here, so relatively small producer. This wine sees cement vat, so a really old school here, really rustic wine on the palate as well, with some fine tannins, some mushroom, earthy notes, but good freshness still in this wine, all the way to the finish. Excellent juice at $140. And then the 2001, which I liked a little better. For me, this wine, a little more classic in style, a bit more of that dried meat showing to the sun-dried cherry, damp earth, some exotic spices, dried floral notes, a bit more structured than the 2000, and a little more freshness on the finish, and a little more length, some cigar box spice showing at the end. Excellent juice, and a better price at $124.50. All right, the Altare wines are up next. The Barolo Ceretta, which is a new wine for me. You know, I hear he stopped making the Brunate since 2011. This is 2005, is the first vintage of Ceretta, and this wine is from the Serralunga area. The rest of the wine is coming from Lamora. A very perfumed bouquet of aromas, pretty flowers, red cherry. These wines are 10 years old here, only 6,000 bottles of this wine produced. Some nice dried spices and herbs, a really complex bouquet here. Really good amount of tannin showing on the tongue here. This 2005 vintage, for me, always a little more open, but maybe because of the oak. This wine showing a lot of tannin, but a host of that truffle and exotic spice, and a lot of fruit here as well. Still really well balanced, lots of everything. This wine's got all the right stuff. It just needs time. Most excellent juice at $135. Then the Larigi wines. We had two Larigis, one that was open the day before and one that was open that day. And, you know, it's amazing on the second day. I always retaste these wines the second day. These wines tasted almost identical. You didn't even notice that one was open a day longer. This wine's 100% Barbera, aged 18 months in French oak, and it's a whopping 15.5% alcohol. Hoo-wah! More buzz for your buck. And this wine's got a lovely, smooth, and elegant feeling on the palate here. Solid core of dark berry fruits and a lot of spice here as well. A lovely savoriness to the finish, which is Barbera's got a lot of acidity, lower in tannins, but with that new oak, you really get some tannin in this wine. Also, some black licorice spice, dark spices at the end. An excellent bottle of Barbera at $96.75. Ooh, wow. Anyways, the Albarino was the last wine we had. This wine is at Langhe Nebbiolo, aged 18 months in French oak, and Altare, like I said, one of the leaders of this new wave, and he, really was one of the godfathers of using all new oak barrique, which a lot of people think is heresy because it covers up some of the nuance and the pretty spice that the Nebbiolo has. But, I find his wines with a little age, that spice starts to come back out. This 2008 really showing its classic nature, this 2008 vintage. A lot of tannins here, but you see some of that tar, some of that black truffle showing through. Only 2,000 bottles produced of this wine. It needs time. A lot of tannins here from both the oak and from the Nebbiolo varietal. All right, that's what I had to drink with our friends from Augustin Wine. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.